Good evening, all. I welcome you all on this webinar on discrete mathematics for GATE coaching. So, this particular webinar is conducted under AICT sponsored Prerna scheme for SC/ST students at VPKBIT Baramati. So, I acknowledge AICT and VPKBIT Baramati for giving me the opportunity. Okay. So, in today's session, we will see relation. Okay. So, before starting relation, let me discuss the Cartesian product of two sets. Okay, so let A and B be two sets, and the Cartesian product of A and B is denoted by A cross B. Okay, and it is the set of all ordered pair, let's say A comma B, where A belongs to set A and B belongs to set B. Okay. If you want to denote it, this particular, so it can be denoted as A comma B is set of pair A comma B, small a comma B, where A is in A and B is in B. Okay. So now A and B here are two different sets. So if you have only one set, then even also that A cross A can be possible. So if A is in A, then okay, not if actually. So let's say uh, A cross A is set of pairs where A is in A. Okay, so that can be also applicable for a single set. Now, to create this set of ordered pairs, there are various techniques, and one technique is the table technique, or you can use a table to create the Cartesian products. Okay, it is the Cartesian product of the set of rows and set of columns. Okay, so for example, let us say you have A is equal to x comma y comma z, and B is a set of, let's say, 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, so now you can have, say, the column head as say 1, 2 and 3, and row head as x, y and z. So here you can have, let me draw the lines so that it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so here you can have x comma 1 as one pair, then another pair will be x comma 2, third pair will be x comma 3, like that. It will be y comma 1, y comma 2, y comma 3. Then we'll have z comma 1, z comma 2 and z comma 3. Okay, so you can use a table technique to create the ordered pair, and once you have expertise, you can directly create the Cartesian pairs of that particular sets. Okay, now as we have said that if A cross A cross A cross up to, let's say, n times, okay, then it is the ordered pair of it is also denoted as like this, A raised to n. Okay, so it will be, this particular will have a set of all ordered subsets. Okay, all ordered subsets, maybe with repetitions is allowed, of set A with size n. Okay, so the size of the ordered subset is n. Okay, that's why this is n times the cross product. For example, let's say if you say 0 comma 1 raised to n, so this will have set of strings, okay, of let's say 0, 1 with length n. Okay, because in many of the time this notation is used in the question paper, so people generally get confused about this. Okay, so this is also used somewhere, many of the times. Okay, so let us start with the definition of relation. Then what is a relation? Okay, so let me give some example to you, and then I will go with the definition. Okay, say okay. Now let's say Mumbai is, let's say, capital of Maharashtra. Okay, and let's say Hyderabad is, say, capital of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, for example, maybe Amaravati is there, but say Hyderabad. Okay, say Bhopal is capital of Madhya Pradesh. Like this. Okay. So now, if we want to put a kind of relation, say let R be the relation such that it is say is capital of. Okay. So you can have one set. Let's say one set. Let's say C, where you will have Mumbai. Okay. Then you'll have, let's say, Hyderabad. Okay. And you will have, let's say, Bhopal. Okay. And there is another set which is let's say um, state S. Okay, so here you have Maharashtra, then MP, and then let's say Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so I can define a relation R such that uh, R is a relation where I have this pair Mumbai, comma Maharashtra. Okay, then Hyderabad, comma Andhra Pradesh. Okay, and say Bhopal, comma MP. That's it. Okay. So I can define a relation R on the Cartesian product of this CS. So as you can see, not all pairs are there. Only three pairs are, since only three pairs are there, not all pairs are available. So you can clearly say that relation is a subset of Cartesian product of this particular capital and state C and S. Okay. So relation basically is to define the relationship between two objects or two entities. Okay, so another relation, let's say you can have this x is greater than y. You could say y is less than, let's say, z. Okay, then a is equal to b. So all are these relations, and these relations can be specified with the this particular relation, which is the Cartesian product of two sets. Okay, a pair of this. Okay, so how do we write this? So if you define a particular relation, then the definition says that uh, let say some set, let S be a set. Okay, then you say a binary relation. Okay, R on set S is a subset of, okay, S cross S. So it can be on one set, it can be on two set, it can be on even three sets. Okay, so it is a set. It is a subset of the Cartesian product of that particular set. Okay, if R is a relation on the set, then we can say that R is subset of S cross S. Okay, and it is also denoted that x comma y is in R. Then we can say that x is related with y. Okay, and obviously x and y must be in set S. Okay, x and y must be in set S. Okay, so sometimes it is also denoted as, okay, look at this notation, x tilde sign y. Okay, so this is one more notation of the relation. Okay, and you will be surprised to know that binary relation is a simple but powerful tool to represent kind of complicated situations. Okay, so in mathematics or in programming, many of the time binary relations are used to represent the complicated situations, and it is heavily used for mathematical modeling of the problem statements. Okay, so maybe if you have modeled a problem statement, then you can find that particular relation there. Okay, so now we will see how to represent a relation. Okay, so for example, let us have one example. Let's say let a is equal to say 0 comma 1 comma 2, and b is equal to, let's say, a comma b. Okay, small a comma b, and R is a relation on A cross B, okay, where R is equal to, let's say, some pair 0 comma A, and let's say 0 comma B, 1 comma A, okay, and 2 comma B. Okay, so this is R. You have four pairs, ordered pairs in relation R. Then how do you represent this? Okay, so there are two, three techniques. One is the drawing this dependency. Okay, so you have 0, 1, 2 on this. Okay, and you have all elements on this side. So 0, 1, you can draw an arrow like this. Okay, 0b, you can have this arrow. For 1a, you can have arrow, and 2b, you can have one more arrow. Okay, or you can also have a kind of table, contingency table. So the R can be denoted with the row and column. So here you can have A, B, 0, 1, and 2, and you can just mark cross over here. So 0A, 0B, 1A, and 2B. Okay, and also you can have the adjacency matrix, and the matrix can be of size again 2 by 3. Okay, sorry, 3 by 2. So you can have 0, 1, 2, and A and B as the column head and row head here. So you just mark 1 here for each row. 1A, you will mark 1 here, and 2B, you will mark 1, and for the others, you will mark 0. Most of the times, we will be using this matrix notation, okay, because it is convenient to use and apply the matrix operations on that. Okay, so this we have already seen. Okay, now let me ask one question to you. This is asked in GATE examination. So how many relations are possible on a set with n elements? Okay, so can you quickly post your answers in the comment box or the chat box? How many relations are possible with a set of n elements? Okay, so let's say there is a set of size n. Okay, then how many relations are possible? Quick. Yes, anybody? N by n. Okay, good. Anybody else? Okay. Now what will be the, okay, tell me what will be the size of A cross A? Okay, so A cross A will be n square. Okay, so the number of relations possible on this particular A cross A will be how much? 2 raised to n square, right? Yes or no? Okay, n square, right? Okay, good. Okay, let us go to the next point, that is the properties of the relation. So I will just quickly revise these properties. The first property is reflexive property, or it is called as a reflexive kind of relation. Okay, what do you mean by reflexive relation? So let R be, okay, R be a relation on, let's say, set A, okay, and then R is reflexive if and only if for every, let's say, x in A, x comma x is in R. Okay, so for example, you can have, let's say, A is equal to, let's say, 1 comma 2 comma 3, then R is said to be reflexive only if it will have 1 1, 2 2 and 3 3. It can have others as well, 1 comma 2 and 2 comma 3, like that, but it must have A comma A, A comma A and A comma A, like this, A comma A, B comma B, C comma C. Okay, so then and then only this particular R is said to be reflexive. Okay, so what are the example? You can have this as one of the example. Okay, or when you talk about division type of operation. Okay, so A divides B, then this particular operation is reflexive because every number divides itself. Okay, so this is reflexive operation because every number divides itself. Okay, so this is what is the reflexive relation. Now the second type of relation is called as symmetric relation. Okay, now you may have heard this word or you may have studied this symmetric relationship. So let R be a against relation on set A. Okay, and R is said to be symmetric. Okay, R is, let's say, a relation on A. R is symmetric if and only if, let's say, if x comma y is in R and what, y comma x is in R. Okay, so if you have a kind of relation, let's say A comma B is present, okay, then B comma A must be present in the relation. So then and then only it is said to be symmetric. Okay, so for example, okay, let's say, okay, I will take the example of, let's say, it draw the matrix for you. Okay, let's say G, sorry, 1 0 1 0, let's say 0 1 0 1 1 0 1 1, and then say 0 1 1 0. Okay, this is let's say relation A. Okay, and I will draw one more relation for you. Let's say 1 0 1 0 then 0 0 1 1 and 0 1 0 1 and then 1 1 0 0, relation B. Okay, now can you tell me which relation is symmetric one? Okay, so I think x comma y is in R. Okay, so I'll tell you that this particular relation A is represented by this particular matrix, relation B is represented by this matrix. Okay, row head and column head, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this 1 comma 1, sorry, this one at this diagonal position, this one at diagonal position, this one denotes that it has say whatever element 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3 there, and 4 comma 4 is not present. Okay, this is what this particular 0 signifies. Now, if you see that for this particular element, so let's say 1 comma 3, 3 comma 1 is present. Okay, are you getting me? And this for 2 comma 4, 4 comma 2 is present. Okay, and yes, this is 4 comma 3, 3 comma 4. For 3 comma 4, sorry, 3 comma, sorry, 3 comma 4, 4 comma 3 is present. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so are you getting me? So if you say, if you write say some numbers, let's say A, B, C, D over here, and let's say write some let's say 1 comma 2 3 4. Okay, so this represents 1 comma C. So for 1 comma C, sorry, this should not be there, huh? C comma 1 should be there, but ultimately I have missed this. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, let it be 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so 1 comma 3, 3 comma 1, okay, is there. So this is for this. For this 2 comma 4, 4 comma 2 is there, so this is for this. And 3 comma 4, 4 comma 3 is there. Okay, so for every x comma y, there should be in R, there should be y comma x present in R. Then and then only it is called as symmetric relation. So this RA is symmetric. Okay, now look at this. Okay, forget the diagonal, because we don't consider. Okay, this is 3 comma sorry 1 comma 3, but there is no 3 comma 1 here, so ultimately at this condition this fails. Okay, so since it doesn't have the symmetry over here, so you say that this is RB is not symmetric. Okay, so this is one of the example that you can consider. Okay, or if you want okay, then reflexive, symmetric, and last one is interesting one, not last one, but this is the basic property. So it is what is the transitive relation. Okay, now what do you mean by transitive relation? Is let again R be a relation on A, then if x comma y is in R and y comma z is in R and z comma x is in R, then R is transitive. Okay, R is transitive. So R is said to be transitive when you have x comma y, y comma z, and z comma x is available in R. Sorry, not z comma x. It should be x comma z. Sorry, I just made a. So it should be x comma z, x comma z. Sorry. Okay, so it is the transitive relation. Best example is, let's say, divide operation. Okay, so let's say you say that 1 divides 2, or let's say I'll say 2 divides 4, let's say 4 divides let's say 16. Okay, then ultimately what it is, the transitive, that 2 divides 16. Okay, 2 divides 4, 4 divides 16, so ultimately 2 divides 16. Okay, so divide operation is transitive, then you can say greater than is transitive. So let's say even less than is transitive. So let's say 2 is less than 4, 4 is less than 16. It means that 2 is less than 16. Okay, less than, greater than, they are transitive. Even imply operation, or maybe you have seen it in this propositional logic, implies. Okay, so A implies B, B implies C, then ultimately A implies C. So the transitive relation is like x comma y is in R, y comma z is in R, then ultimately x comma z must be in R. Okay, and if a relation, let's say there is one more property, that if a relation, let's say if relation R is reflexive, then what is symmetric and transitive, then it is called as equivalence relation. It is called as equivalence relation. Okay, and it is denoted by this equivalence sign. Okay, so if the relation R is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive, then then R is equivalence relation. Okay, we will see more on this equivalence relation and equivalence set later. Okay, now apart from these basic properties, there are some other properties. Okay, so the other properties are anti-symmetric. Okay, we have seen symmetric, anti-symmetric relation. Okay, now let me revise what is symmetric. So when you say x comma y is in R, and then y comma x is in R, if, sorry, I'll say and, then R is symmetric. Okay, R is symmetric. Then what is anti-symmetric? We are talking about anti-symmetric. So anti-symmetric is a binary relation on set R where R is called as anti-symmetric if. Okay, so I will write R is anti-symmetric if and only if A comma B is in R and B comma A is not in R. Okay, unless A is equal to B. Okay, so it can be reflexive, but it cannot be anti-symmetric. Okay, A comma B and B comma A is an R, then ultimately what you conclude is A is equal to B. Otherwise, it should not be there. A comma B is in R, then B comma A should not be there. Okay, so you can even also write it in another word. Let's say I'll write or. R is anti-symmetric. The another meaning that derives from this particular definition is that if, okay, I will not write like this. If A comma B is in R and B comma A is in R and R is anti-symmetric. Okay, R is anti-symmetric, then A must be equal to B. Okay, are you getting this? So here we have written that it should not be there. A comma B is in R and B comma A is not in R, then unless A is equal to B. So if A comma B is in R and B comma A is in R, what does it mean? Is that A is equal to B. Okay, so just don't consider this. Maybe you can consider this definition. that if it is antisymmetric, then a comma b must be there, but b comma a must not be there. Okay, example. Okay, what can be the example of antisymmetric? So again, I'll take divides. Okay, so maybe say you said 2 divides 8. Okay, but 8 doesn't divides, okay, 2. Are you getting me? 2 divides 8, but 8 doesn't divides 2. Okay, so that is what is one of the example, or you can say greater than. 2 is greater than 3, but 3 is not greater than 2. Okay, so this is the antisymmetric relation. Okay, let's say okay. Okay, I will try to represent using quantifiers. So for symmetric, okay, for symmetric, how do you represent it? Let's say for all a and b, a comma b is in R, implies that b comma a must be in R. Okay, and then for antisymmetric, again for all a and b, a comma b is in R and b comma a is in R, implies that what, a is equal to b. Are you getting me? So this is for antisymmetric and this is for symmetric. And very important thing, note that the symmetric and antisymmetric are not opposites. Okay, so you cannot say that symmetric versus antisymmetric. No, they are totally different properties. So antisymmetric and symmetric both are different properties. Okay, a relation cannot have both properties or lack of both of them. So it can be either symmetric or antisymmetric. So you cannot say that it is neither symmetric nor antisymmetric. No, it cannot happen. It can be either symmetric or antisymmetric. Okay, so let me add a page. Now we have seen reflexive property. Okay, so I will just write reflexive again. So what is reflexive relation? That a comma a must be in R. Okay, so this is reflexive relation. Now we will see irreflexive relation. Okay, now a relation R, okay, say a relation R on set A is said to be irreflexive if for every A, okay, a comma a is not in R. Now you can understand that. Now this is opposite. Okay, a comma a must not be in R. Okay, where reflexive talk about it should be in R. Okay, and irreflexive talks about a comma a should not be in R. Okay, example of it. Let's say obviously not equal to. Okay, so you will have 1 comma 2, 2 comma 3, 3 comma 2, 2 comma 1, but you will not have 1 1 2 2 3 3 because you are talking about not equal to. Then another one will be say greater than. Okay, greater than, less than, they are all irreflexive relationship. Okay. Now the third category in the reflexive type is, now look at this, non-reflexive. Okay. Non-reflexive relation. What do you mean by non-reflexive relation? So a relation R on set A is said to be, say, non-reflexive if A comma A is in R. Okay. For some A and A comma A and A comma A is not in R for others. Okay. Means it is possible, it is true for some, it is not true for some others. Okay. So for example, let's say A is a set where you have 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay. And R is equal to, let's say, 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 2 comma 1, 2 comma 3, and 3 comma 3. So as you can find, 1 comma 1 is there, 3 comma 3 is there, but 2 comma 2 is not there. So R here in this particular example, R is non-reflexive. Okay. If we could add 2 comma 2, then R will become reflexive. Otherwise, this is non-reflexive. Okay. So this is about non-reflexive relation. Okay. Asymmetric, I think we have covered antisymmetric, right? Okay. Now again I will write what is symmetric. So symmetric, you say A comma B is in R and B comma A must be in R. Then R is symmetric. Now next is asymmetric. Okay. It is not antisymmetric. Antisymmetric is different. Okay. So here we say that a relation R on set A is asymmetric if or whenever A comma B is in R, then B comma A is not in R. Okay. For A is not equal to B. Okay. That is, you can also write as A in relation with B implies that B is not in relation with A. Okay. In another word, you can say that the presence of A comma B excludes the presence of B comma A. Okay. Are you getting me? So let's say again A is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, and then R is equal to, let's say, 1 comma 2, then 2 comma 3, and 3 comma 1. Okay. So 1 comma 2, 2 comma 1 is not there, 2 comma 3, 3 comma 2 is not there, 3 comma 1, 1 comma 3 is not there. So this R is, now you can say R is asymmetric. Okay. Now, what is the difference between asymmetric and antisymmetric? In antisymmetric, okay, I'll just add one more variable over here. Okay. So comma, one more pair here, 3 comma 3. Okay. So in asymmetric, it is allowed unless it is equal to, okay. So if we have A comma B in R, then B comma A must not be R unless A comma B is equal to A is equal to B. Okay. but here we allow it to be present when it is equal. Okay, so this is the difference between symmetric and asymmetric and antisymmetric. Okay, so transitive I think we have seen. Okay, let me write the meaning of this. Okay, quickly I will summarize this properties with the mathematical notations. Okay, and let's say meaning. So first is reflexivity. A comma A is an R. Okay, or it is also written as A R A for every A in A. Okay, this is one. Second one is let's say irreflexivity. So there you say A comma A is in R. Okay, and sorry, A comma A not in R. A for all A, huh? And then non-reflexivity. Non-reflexivity is said that A comma A is in R for some A in A, and I can say that not for all A in A. Okay. Then comes the symmetry. A comma B is in R and B comma A is in R for A and B belonging to, okay, bracket should not be there, otherwise it will make a difference. Okay, then comes the asymmetry. What does asymmetry tells us? A comma B is in R implies B comma A is in R, sorry, B comma A not in R, okay, for every A and B in A, okay, and it also tells that A and B should not be equal, okay, A not equal to B, okay, A comma B belonging to A. And then antisymmetry. A comma B is in R and B comma A is in R implies A is equal to B, okay, or you can even place and over here, okay. And the last one is transitivity. A comma B is in R and B comma C is in R implies A comma C is in R for all A, B, C in belonging to, sorry, for A, B, C is in A, okay, good. So these are the all properties of relation on sets, okay, and their meaning. Maybe you can use this for remembering all the relation, because most of the questions they come directly that this is reflexive, this is not reflexive, this is symmetric, this is antisymmetric. Then at that time it is difficult to recall everything, okay. So this three is about the reflexivity, this three is about the symmetry, and transitivity is separate, okay. So there is a chance to make you confuse between this symmetry, asymmetry, antisymmetry, okay. and then you may have if you remember all these properties, you may have a good chance to score in this the questions specifically asked on this relations. Okay, the last note. Okay, the last note that I just found. If you think about the transitivity, okay, look at this. A transitive relation is asymmetric if and only if it is irreflexive. Okay, are you getting me? So when you say A to B, B to C implies A to C. Okay, or it should be A to C available in this. So what does it mean? That it is asymmetric. Okay, there is no A to B is available, but B to A is not available. Okay, otherwise this will complete here itself. Okay, so that's why a transitive relation, it can also come as a fill in the blank, is asymmetric if and only if it is what? Irreflexive. Okay, means what will happen if you have, let's say, A to B. Okay, I say A comma B is in R, and then say B comma A is in R. Okay, then what it will imply is A comma A is in R. So this will reflexive. This is, though this is symmetric. Okay, so it says that it should not, it should be symmetric. It is, sorry, it is asymmetric if and only if it is irreflexive. Okay, so the thing is that it should not conclude to this. Okay, I will once again write it neatly. So A comma B, if it is in R, okay, and B comma A is in R, by the transitivity, what we want is A comma A must be in R. Okay, so a transitive relation will be asymmetric if and only if it is irreflexive. This should not be this, and then it will makes it as a asymmetric relation. Okay, so now in this one particular line, maybe three different properties are covered: transitivity, asymmetric relation, and reflexivity. Okay, so you can understand that how you can be ask the questions in the GATE examination about this relation on sets. Okay, so maybe next time in the next session we will start with the closure of the relation, or maybe I can even have this right now. Okay, so let us start with this. So please spare 5 minutes for me. Okay, what do you mean by closure of a relation? So, for example, if you have a kind of relation which is not transitive, okay, then we can construct a kind of small transitive relation that is actually contain the whole R, and that will make the this particular relation transitive. So it is known as the transitive closure. For example, I'll start with the example, then I'll go with the definition. Let's say R is equal to something like okay, let me start with the set. Okay, let's say A is equal to A comma B comma C. Okay, and R is equal to let's say A comma B, then B comma A, then B comma B, and C comma B. Okay, now if you see that, is this a kind of relation, or is this of reflexive type? No, only B comma B is present, but A comma A is not present, and even C comma C is not present. So if I can have R dash such that I will have A comma A, okay, and C comma C, okay, which is actually not present over here. and add a comma b, b comma a, the whole R here, b comma b and c comma b. Now I can say that R dash is a transitive closure of R. Since R dash is transitive, okay, you have a comma a, c comma c and b comma b. So R dash will become transitive and this will become the transitive closure of R. Since R is not transitive, this is transitive. So this is the transitive closure of R. Okay. So if you go with the definition will confuse you. But this example will help you to understand what is a transitive closure. Okay. So now this R is not transitive. We will add this missing part of the transitivity in R dash and the whole R. Okay. So R is subset of R dash. Are you getting me? R is subset of R dash. And R dash will be transitive. Are you getting me? So this is called as transitive closure of relation R on set A. Okay. Now, if you go with the definition, let me write the definition. So what we have seen, maybe we can revise this tomorrow also. Transitive closure. Oh, sorry. I just made a very big mistake. This is not transitive closure. Why I made it transitive closure? This is what reflexive closure. Sorry for the big blunder mistake. Huh? So this is not transitive closure. This is reflexive closure. So A comma A, C comma C and B comma B is about the reflexivity. So sorry, extremely sorry. So R dash is now reflexive and this will become reflexive closure of relation R. Okay. So let me write the definition of reflexive closure. Okay. So a relation, let's say R on set A or say a relation R dash. Okay, we are talking about closure. Na? So let's say a relation R dash is the reflexive closure of not set of relation R on set A if and only if number A, there are some conditions to be matched, that R dash is reflexive. Okay, then R dash, sorry, not R dash, R must be subset of R dash, and third one is for any relation R double dash. Okay, now this is interesting. If R is subset of R double dash and R double dash is a reflexive, then R dash is subset of R double dash. Okay, that is what you say, that R dash is the smallest portion, or you say smallest relation that satisfies condition A and condition B. Okay, so you want to have the smallest thing to be added to R such that it will make that condition or that particular relation reflexive. Okay, so we have seen it with one example. So I will again repeat this. Let's say A is equal to A comma B comma C. Okay, and R is, let's say, A comma B, B comma A, B comma B, and C comma B. So since R is not reflexive, I'll repeat. We will add. Look at this: A comma A and C comma C. Okay, along with all the elements of A R, that is A comma B, B comma A, then B comma B, and C comma B. So this is what is nothing but your R. Okay, and that's what it denotes, that R is subset of R dash. Okay, so R is reflexive closure of R if R is subset of R dash and R dash itself is reflexive. Okay, so these are the two conditions. So these two conditions are sufficient for us. And the third one says that you should add the minimum one that will make the R dash as a reflexive one. So for any relation R double dash, if R is subset of R double dash and R dash is reflexive, then R dash must be the portion of R double dash. That is, R dash must be the smallest relation that satisfies condition A and B. So this is what is the condition number C tells us. Okay. So this is about this reflexive closure, and likewise you can write about, or you can define the symmetric closure. Okay, and then you can also specify the third one, that is transitive closure. So by mistake I told transitive closure earlier. Okay, so it's one and the same, only the thing is that this will change. Okay,
Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have liked this video, please click on like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please write your suggestion, queries in the comment box or mail me at dineshjhende@gmail.com. Thank you very much.